talk about Chad.
No.
We're going to talk about Edgar Mills.
Yeah.
Who is Edgar Mills? Let's start there.
Oh, man.
That's tough, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, in 1972, two irresponsible teenagers gave birth to Mr. Child Robert Edgar Mills.
Yeah.
Worth noting that my middle name is Edgar, and I go by Edgar. That's my
Okay.
great-grandfather's name. So I use that, obviously, to honor him.
Yeah.
My first name is Robert, named after, at the time of my birth, my dad's German Shepherd.
Ooh, how would you feel about that? I mean, where do you go with that? I'm named after a dog.
Yeah, so
I'm sure it was a cool dog.
it was a German Shepherd.
Yeah. Always cool.
So I didn't know that till later on, but it's all right.
So what I knew about you before we sat down here, I think, is number one, that we share a barber. And
Yeah. We met in passing at his shop. You were on the way out, I was on the way in. Yeah.
I thought that had happened at some point.
Yep.
We'd been in the same place at the same time, but it was always, Adam was always like, oh, Edgar was just here a minute ago.
Yep.
Whatever. So, but we made it together here now. But we got the same barber, and you are an Army gun. Former Army
Retired.
shooting instructor.
Yeah. All right. So, I retired in 2020 out of Colorado Springs. The wife and I, we didn't know if we were going to stay there or come back to Georgia because I'm from Georgia. Well, the only reason we would have stayed there is all my kids loved it there.
What's not to love about Colorado, you know?
But, on a postcard, or if you're a skier, but we're not cold weather folks at all.
Yeah.
Not at
Well,
all.
you're from Georgia.
Yeah. And my dad, everybody was kind of in poor health. My dad, my mom, my grandma.
They're all here.
They're all dead.
Well, they were here. I'm sorry.
We decided to come back to Georgia. We retired in Colorado Springs, went back and forth. It's very expensive out there, by the way.
I'm sure.
It's very politically liberal out there. And it's very cold in the wintertime. So we opted to come back. My daughter was in college out there, so okay, she's in college. She's living in a controlled environment in a dorm. Colorado Christian University, by the way, which is an awesome school. More to follow on that.
Okay, all right.
And both of my other sons were out of the house. My boys were out of the house already. So we decided to come back to Georgia. Within 2 years of being back in Georgia, my dad died, my mom died, and my grandma died.
Just like that, huh?
Well, my mom and dad almost like months apart, and then
Wow.
my grandma like a year later. So I have other family here, so it's not like a total bust. And we love Georgia.
Georgia's great.
I was born and raised in Atlanta. I'm a city dude.
Okay.
But we happened upon Rome. We were looking at a property in Chattanooga.
Yeah. I always wonder, like, how do people get here? I've been here my whole life.
Look, man, until when I was a youth, all the way up until I joined the Army and went away, I saw Rome on the weather on TV, right?
Yeah.
On the weather.
Yeah.
I thought, man, what's going on up there? And then I never thought another thing about it.
Yeah.
I guess you don't even go through here. If you're from Atlanta and you go to like Rock City, you go up I-75.
Yeah, you just miss us all together.
So I've never knew anything about what's going on over here. Anyway, we were in Chattanooga looking at a big property, like our retirement home.
Right.
Right. This was in the fall of 2020, and we decided to come down 27 instead of the freeway.
Okay.
So right in the middle of Rome, oh man, there's a town here.
Yeah. Cool stuff, right?
And then we remembered, my wife, didn't we see a house on Zillow? Yeah, let's go look at it. So we did a drive-by on it. It's the house we live in now.
Okay.
So it worked out pretty good. And we knew zero about Rome.
Yeah.
We just knew it looked kind of cool. We liked the rivers converging.
Yeah,
It's got some good lore.
Right.
With the Indians. My wife's part Cherokee and all that stuff, and she loves that stuff. And yeah, man, the town itself, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Just looking, a good old, proper, like, old small town.
Right.
Except it ain't that small. It's kind of small, but not really.
Yeah, my daughter and I were talking about that the other day. We were sitting at a red light, and there were just cars coming and going everywhere, and it seemed like a really big city.
And one of the things my wife, so we go back and forth. I'm a business owner. What do I need? Mm-hmm. I need humans, right, to come to my.
Gotta have people.
And she is absolutely like, I want to live. She wants to live somewhere further out.
Yeah.
But we live right off Blacks Bluff Road, literally 4 miles from downtown Rome.
Yeah.
However, the way the city limits kind of swirl around, we're in the county, and we're past the prison. So past the prison, going south on Blacks Bluff, you're in the country.
Yeah.
Everybody's property is 20 acres plus.
Yeah.
And you keep going that way, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger land. So we're right up as close as you can be to the city.
Yeah.
And still shoot guns in your front yard.
In the front yard. I can shoot them in the backyard, but not in the front.
No,
you guys
we're
are
in the
out
front,
there.
man.
So you're past the jail. Okay.
Just past the jail. We're the first property on the left past the jail.
I couldn't remember. I was out that way back when it was warm. I rode out there, and I thought, oh, that must be the place. There's a big sign or whatever.
Yeah, the guy got a classroom in the front yard.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's pretty cool. I'm maxed out now, man.
Maxed out.
I got a buddy. He was on my podcast with me. Maybe not the last one, but the one before. Kurt Fennell.
The shooter.
He's a pro shooter.
Yeah.
And a Green Beret. I mean, we met at Fort Bragg, and we're looking at 50 acres out off Morton Bend.
Oh.
Or Highway 100.
Okay.
South of 20, but west of 100.
Yeah. Where are we at? Like Livingston, I guess, is the...
Yeah, or what's it? Adele? There's another little something. Yeah. It's a female name. Like.
Yeah, I know. I can't think of
Anyway, it's right there, 50 acres, right in the middle of a tree farm. Man, I'm praying, got fingers crossed, we're knocking on wood, all the things to get that property, that deal closed pretty, like real soon.
Okay.
So if we do that, that's a 50-acre range complex. That's a real deal.
Range complex.
Professional place to go shoot guns. It's going to be membership. I'm going to have local. Going to have a public line, but it's membership oriented.
Right.
That's the goal, and I think once we build that to spec, the way we got it designed, that's it. I mean, it's going to be a national a draw.
We don't have. I mean, what's the closest thing we have? Like, you're talking about something bigger than Governors, right? I mean.
Oh no, apples and oranges, man. Governors is an indoor bougie thing. This is where you come to shoot guns.
Okay.
Competition. No, I mean, they do competition at Governors.
Yeah.
But we're talking about real competition. We're talking about like national level USPSA or PCS League, or even Kurt wants to get tactical games, skirmish out there.
Oh.
We're talking about that level.
Yeah.
And the next closest thing to that is in Dawsonville at River Bend.
Okay, yeah.
And then possibly CMP down in Talladega. So
you're talking about running and shooting and tactics and...
Oh, no, not tactics. Don't get confused. I don't teach tactics.
What do you teach?
I teach people how to shoot guns.
Okay, all right. Real clear on our terminology.
Let's just say that out loud. Skill trumps tactics. If you're going to a course to learn some tactical magic, you're spending your money on the wrong thing. Go learn how to put bullets where you want them, when you want to. Tactics are secondary. And I'll argue that till the doomsday.
Well, I guess somebody could kick that door open and sweep this room.
And miss.
Yeah. Just 3 live still targets right here. And they could be the best door kicker
I wouldn't be
ever.
a still target, and I'm packing heat, so
I'm
going to return fire.
I wouldn't be for long.
I hope you don't mind I got a gun in your house.
No, there's so many guns in this house. Right. It's okay.
Right. Somebody could do that.
Yeah. And then just
miss.
Yeah.
So don't get worried about where your feet are at when you enter the door. Get worried about putting bullets where you want them first.
I gotcha.
Anyway, that's what we do.
Okay. So this is through Osprey?
Osprey Shooting Solutions, yeah. We do. I do a quarterly free everyday carry course in hopes that people who are nervous about training or just simply can't afford to train, but have a gun. And I get a lot of women in that for sure, but you'd be amazed at how many dudes I get in that class that they just, I don't know why people are nervous to go take a course. They feel like that you need to be a certain skill level already to go take a course.
I think as men, we feel like I know how to shoot. And if I don't think I know how to shoot, I'm not going to tell anybody I don't know how to shoot. You don't want to perform in front of someone. Right. That's a classic cop story right there. Are you going to flame the cops?
I'm going to burn them down. I got a love-hate relationship with the cops. Dude, mostly love.
We're okay with that.
Hey, I'm good buddies with Scott Kazmar. He's on the Rome police department.
I've heard that name before.
And he comes out and shoots. Thank you, man. He shoots competitive stuff. And cops who go out on their own and spend their own money to go train, they care about what they're doing.
God bless them. Yeah.
Guys who refuse to pull the trigger unless a bullet is given to them by the city or county.
Yeah.
It's just a
they're
job.
Expensive. I can buy my own ammo, But now I live.
Well, we're talking about life and death stuff. Though.
Yeah. Well, by the way the crow flies, I live a couple of miles probably from the city police where they go shoot over on Coyote Springs. So I hear them out there on Wednesdays, and that's great. And I wonder how many people are over there, and are they hitting their target? And but I can always pow, 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 across the river over there. But no, you don't think so?
Let me just say this: and they use the same. All the cops in Georgia, they all use the Georgia, the qualification that the state of Georgia imposes, and give me 2 hours, and I could have my 4-year-old grandson shoot that qualification with a 22. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's the time standards are irrelevant. They're so slow, and
they're just shooting like pop.
Like no, there's stuff you got to shoot from. Well, they had a 25-yard shot, and I think they've taken that away. So I think the farthest shot now it might be 15. There's a big silhouette, and you got to get them all within the silhouette and all that stuff. It's just kind of very low standards as far as standards go.
Well, considering it's a gun that we're talking about and we're shooting it at
life
people,
and death, man.
Yeah,
life
should
and
be
death.
Pretty high standard.
Yeah. So what happens? I think with most cops. Now, look, I'm not a cop, never been a cop, but I've trained lots of cops, and I talk. I got buddies and all that, and I see that you see similar with even like conventional Army units where they prioritize the training, the wrong training.
Yeah.
So instead of being able, I think lethal force should be number one.
Yeah. The
judicious application and surgical application, like when to and not to, et cetera.
Yeah.
But when you spend a lot of time on, and de-escalation for cops.
Sure, yeah.
And de-escalation. But like the gun, that's the final. That's it. Mm-hmm. So if I'm a poorly trained cop and I'm shooting at a guy 6 yards away from me and I'm blazing up, and 3 out of 17 rounds hit the target, where are the other 14 bullets?
They disappear, right? They just
so
dissolve.
The liability, I can't believe you don't see this more often about the liability, the settlements that get paid out from all these departments. I would think that over time it's cheaper just to train. It would
seem like it, right?
I don't know, man. That's one of my major gripes about. I had a guy call me up last week from, he was either Rome City. No, he was at SRO.
Okay.
And I think they got city and county guys.
Yeah.
And he's taking me up. So on my website, if you go to the law enforcement tab there, and look, I offer a free half a day of training for cops. I'll come out to your place, or you can come out to my place, and we'll focus on whatever you want to focus on.
And so, tell me you've trained every cop in our city and county right now, right?
Yeah. Not one agency has called me up about the free training.
Dave Robertson listens to this. Come on, Dave.
Yeah. He follows me.
Okay.
Now, I don't know him. but I started following him.
And
maybe maybe just he's a follow back guy. I'm a follow back. You know,
Dave follows everybody. Yeah. You
know. Not one agency has taken up until this week.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, maybe we can do something. I'm like, yeah, maybe we can. Oh, and then I got a dynamic 2-gun course that I do. Mm-hmm. It's action shooting. It's moving, shoot, all the things. And I offer 2 free seats to cops every time. And not every time do cops fill those seats.
Yeah.
And that's a shame, man.
Yeah. Well, I think the same thing. Like I don't look like the athlete of the day, but I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah. And I think, man, I think every cop should do that.
Yeah.
You know, because if I don't have to shoot you, if I can just subdue you, then we've saved a life and all that good stuff. But
well, oddly enough, that kind of goes into de-escalation. If you can manage this dude without shooting him, then that's de-escalation.
Because we'd rather not shoot him, right? But if we have to, we need to be good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, killing someone's an emotional event. It's not a willy-nilly thing you see on TV.
Right.
I mean, there's a significant, not trauma necessarily.
Maybe, but yeah.
But, yeah, it's a significant emotional thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you don't want to, and plus, hopefully, we're not psychos.
Yeah, hopefully, right, yeah.
Hopefully we don't have a bunch of psychos who do want to kill people.
Yeah.
So anyway, training. Yeah, I'm passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rough on cops about it, but it's not the cops necessarily. Not everybody can afford to go buy 1,000 rounds and just go blaze them up.
Right.
But I am a little rough on the leadership, like the priorities, the training priorities.
Yeah.
Like you should put more effort into having your people get up to a standard, not lowering your standard to the lowest common denominator.
Right.
Have your people get up to a legitimate standard. What a lot of people discover when they come out and shoot with me is everybody knows life moves fast.
Mm-hmm.
But when you put the timer on, they don't understand how fast.
Yeah.
The timer will show some reality to you. You're like, oh, my God. Yeah. So unless you're training under a little bit of stress and a little time to get yourself to, it's just guess. You're just guessing.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. You don't know until you're actually testing yourself.
Well, there's a little bit of a range out back here. We've been out here and shot before, and I can line up my AR, even with iron sights, and just hit that little thing every time I want to. Nobody's shooting back at me, and nobody's yelling at me, and there's no hurry. I can just line it up.
The way most of us, to include me, even in the military, the way most people learn to shoot is like bullseye style shooting, where you breathe, relax, aim, and squeeze, right? You close your eye, you get your front sight post crystal clear.
Like you're hunting.
And then you breathe out, and then slowly squeeze the trigger.
Right.
That's bullseye shooting. The other side of that is action shooting. Action shooting is everything combat, competition, self-defense, where time, movement, stress, whether it's incoming bullets or somebody trying to beat you up or whatever. And the best place to work that is by competition shooting.
Yeah.
There's no other place to replicate it in a civilian world.
Yeah.
Where you're standing, holstered up, minding your own business, and then the beep goes off and you got to draw fast, put rounds on target, move, and all these things. Yeah. So people don't understand how fast. Now, competition shooters do it all the time. But most you said a little while ago, out here everybody shoots and good old boys and all this and that.
Yeah. Everybody
in the South has a gun. And every guy thinks because he was the world champion squirrel hunter when he was 14 is a good shooter. I've had more trouble in the South getting men to come out and train to even get them to acknowledge that, like, okay, yeah, I could use some training.
Yeah, yeah.
Colorado Springs, man, dudes were coming out of the woodwork. They loved it.
Really?
They wanted formal training. They wanted a higher level of formal training.
Yeah.
And the good old boys are, I'm good. But when you get them out and they realize what's going on, the first thing, and I've heard it 8 million times, I've never done anything like that before.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, You haven't.
Well, I know here in Georgia, we can, during squirrel season, we can shoot 12 squirrels a day. And we get 12 deer, we get two bucks and 10 does. We can shoot all kinds of. There's plenty of shooting opportunities, but none of that stuff shooting back at us.
That's right. And ultimately, to me, it's about self-defense. I don't necessarily target military and police. I train military and police still, but fairly few and far between. My passion is civilians who their professed desire is to become a better or more proficient and be able to defend themselves. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's getting new shooters up to a high level in a short period of time is what satisfies me. I like that. So that's one of the things, like private sessions that I do. That's one of the most wildly popular things I've ever done.
Yeah.
People come to the courses and all that, but private sessions are just constant.
Just one-on-one session we're talking?
Yeah, one-on-one. Now, we do groups too.
Sure.
But generally speaking, people are nervous about shooting around other people.
Yeah.
Because they're not comfortable and they think the gun's going to jump out of their hand and start shooting people or something. I don't know.
Well, how many times do you hear the gun went off?
It didn't.
The gun never goes off.
Absolute lie.
Yeah.
Or I tell people this all the time. Just like the movie. Mm-hmm. This is my safety.
This is my safety.
This is the one. This is the common denominator in all negligent discharges.
Yeah.
Now, there's very few anomalies out there. If you're a SIG P320 shooter, you're probably one of those anomalies.
Tango, are you a SIG P320 shooter?
I am not.
Okay. Yeah. You got laughy over there.
They're known for
I
that.
think SIG's been very slow to address that issue.
Jeez.
But other than that, generally speaking, all modern firearms are safe, functional, and will not go off unless you pull the trigger. Yeah. Even drop safe and all that stuff. So it's the finger. It's the trigger finger, 100%.
Yeah. A little bit of discipline, right?
That's the very first thing you have to. That's it. Yeah. Keep your finger off the trigger and out of trigger guard.
Yeah.
So you have sights aligned on target. People say treat every gun as if it's loaded. Whatever. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I say know the status of your gun.
Yeah. You should know if your gun's
loaded. You should know if it's loaded or not. Not treat it if it's loaded and walk around like this. Just know. Check. Whatever. Keep your finger off the trigger.
Yeah.
And then don't point anything to shoot at, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly identify the threat and be aware of its surroundings, of course.
Right.
Don't put your finger on the trigger.
That's easy enough,
if
right?
you don't intend to shoot the gun.
Yeah.
It's funny, but there's cases where dads have been sitting on their couch and blasted their kids because they're. I've got no mercy for them.
Yeah.
I empathize. If I blasted my son, I would probably blast myself.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be able to live with it.
Yeah.
Especially for something as ignorant as I thought it was unloaded. Mm-hmm. Freaking check. And don't pull the trigger.
Know that it's unloaded, yeah.
Yeah. So those are tragedies, man. Yeah. And I hate that. And it's very simple. Go take a $100 class.
Right.
And you will walk out with that ingrained.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll walk out with that ingrained. You'll be a competent, at least handler.
Yeah.
At least pistol handler, gun handler. You might not be bona fide gunfighter.
You're not John Wick, maybe, but it's, you're not going to shoot yourself.
And I say this all the time, man. The gun training business is a bunch of judgmental SOBs. But you don't necessarily get judged on what your target looks like, how tight and how fast. You get judged on the way you handle your gun around other people.
Yeah.
That's when people look at you and determine immediately whether you're safe or unsafe. So when you're off the line, going through your bag and waving guns around or not, right? Being mindful about where your gun's pointed at and things like that.
Let me ask you too. You said in your last episode, maybe the one before, you're not in favor of open carry. You'd rather conceal. Yeah,
that's purely for tactical purpose, right? I don't want nobody to know I got a gun if somebody's trying to kill me.
Do you believe in they'll shoot you first rule, or like somebody walks in here and you've got a gun on your hip, and they're like, well, I'm going to shoot him first because I know he's got a gun.
I don't know, man. That's like what if stuff.
Right.
What the biggest danger I think of the open carry stuff is if you're open carrying out in public, there are predators out there who are going to try you, and you may or may not be tough enough to stop them. So it'd be mighty messed up for you to get shot with your own gun.
I'd rather not.
It would, and I think the majority of people I have seen, because Colorado's always been an open carry state. The dudes I see open carrying, they would not.
It's like he could just walk up and snatch it off their
Yeah,
belt.
I know I could. And I'm not being arrogant or boastful. I'm telling you right now, man.
You're highly trained.
There's
Edgar.
just some dudes out there walking around clueless.
Yeah.
And they think that they're a deterrent because they got this heater on. But it's so easy. And there's video after video after video of it happening.
Yeah.
I was going to tie that back to Flaming the Cops. There are hundreds of videos of people just walking up and snatching their gun from them.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Like, that's a thing now. Just, I can take your
Now,
gun.
and that's why
you're supposed
cops
to be a
have to
cop.
wear like level freaking 4 holsters or something.
They end up shooting
And people
themselves in the
still
foot.
get out of them.
There-
It's silly.
There's so many fail safes now on these on cop holsters. I think I said level 4. I don't know that exists. Level 3 definitely exists, and that's a thumb, like a hood, a thumb brake, and a finger thing, and then like some have a twist. Also,
Sounds like a good way
Yeah.
to shoot yourself in the foot trying to draw your weapon.
well, it sounds like a good way to somebody to get their gun out before you is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh, jeez.
you can train it though. You can train anything.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Are you going to get a 1 second draw out of one of those holsters?
No.
Not likely.
Yeah.
Now, I can do a 1 second draw out of a level 2 holster, and that's just with the thumb brake, the ALS, the Safari Lance. That's a very intuitive thing.
Yeah.
You add one more piece on there, there's just no way I'm going to
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Then you add 2 more pieces.
So
Yes, madness.
you talk about the average gunfight, or they say the average gun battle is like within arm's length of the other person.
Yeah, statistically, distance-wise, yeah, something like 3 or 4 feet.
Yeah. We're not like shooting down the street at each
And
other.
not 3 or 4 feet, about 3 yards. I think they say something like, there was some catchphrase number, 12 feet, 12 rounds, 12 seconds, some crap like that. And that's statistically right.
Right.
So, and there's a lot, if you want to train to that, there's a lot you can do to be very good at that.
Yeah.
I do a lot of up close training, like 3 yards,
Yeah.
because that's where you learn how to go fast, like really fast.
Yeah.
But then I do a lot of 30, 40, 50 yard training with a pistol, because that's where you learn to be accurate.
Long pistol shot.
You have to. It is.
Yeah.
And I doubt under any circumstances ever would anybody have to do that, except for that one guy. You guys remember the dude up in Minnesota or somewhere at the mall?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
The
shooter that
active
came
shooter
out,
was-
and he took a 40-yard. Well, he shot 10 rounds on this dude at 40 yards, put 8 out of 10 on target,
That's incredible.
stopped the shooter. But what was my first question?
Where are the other two?
Yeah, where the
Yeah,
other
where are
two
the other
go?
two? Yeah.
Now, I don't know what it looked like up there. He might have had a good backstop. It might have just been a wall.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. Could I say I would take a 40-yard shot under stress? I don't know, man.
That's tough.
And this was iron sights on like a shield or something like a subcompact gun.
Yeah.
So
Not even like a 1911 or
either the Lord was guiding that dude's bullets or he was pretty well trained.
Yeah.
40 yards ain't no freebie, man.
no, with no stress.
Yeah, with no stress.
Yeah.
But we train out that far because you need to understand what it means to hold that gun still when you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can flub that at 3 yards when we're going super fast. You can't flub it at 50.
Yeah.
And you can't learn how to go fast at 50
Yeah.
because you ain't going to hit anything.
Right. Yeah.
So you need to learn. So here's the trick question, guys. What's more important, speed or accuracy?
It's got to be accuracy, right?
What about you?
I was going to go accuracy.
Wrong. It's a trick question.
It's
Both.
both.
No, you
Yeah,
got us.
It's both.
You
It's
gotta be able
both.
to be quick.
Yeah.
It's both. One's not more important than the other. If you find yourself slacking on one, you're going to get had by the other.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you don't ever know. in real life, you don't know who you're going. Who
Right. Is this guy trained? Is he?
Let's say we're walking down the streets of Rome, and a Grandmaster U.S. PSA dude just caught his wife cheating on him with his best friend, and his dog just got run over, and he's ready to end it all. And you're walking down the street and get a shoulder check, and you're like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna." And that dude burns you down, puts 6 rounds on your chest in 1.9 seconds. They're both important.
Yeah.
And in competition, they're both important, and in combat or self-defense, they're both important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you may have opportunity. You can what if all sorts of scenarios.
Right.
You may have opportunity to give yourself a tactical advantage. There's plenty of videos out there where a regular dude's at a convenience store checkout. Some guy with a gun comes in, bumps him out of the way, points the gun at the cashier. Guy does this, backs up, and then burns him down. That's a tactical advantage. Okay.
Yeah, I'm harmless.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of things like that come in play.
Right.
But check it out. Not every gunfight's a quick draw. Mm-hmm. But if it is, it is.
Yeah, you better be quick.
So you need to train it.
Yeah.
You need to get good at it.
I've never done that. I feel like I'm okay on the range. I can shoot a paper target from, a decent range, but
yeah.
You
come
have that
out.
stress level.
I'll blow your mind with some just USPSA B class time standards.
Yeah.
And for the
what
average,
what are we talking about there?
Huh?
What are we talking about? Like how many X number of shots in X period of time?
Okay, so the gold standard for, you guys heard of the bill drill, right? 6 rounds on target as fast as you can. Mm-hmm. 7 yards in the A zone on an IPSC, which is like 6 inches wide by 10 inches or 11 inches
Center
tall.
mass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. 6 rounds. The gold standard is 2 seconds. Now, I did it today. I was training with a guy today. I did it in 2.06 seconds, and I was running. I was going as fast as I could go.
Yeah.
Every little thing matters at that point.
Right.
I was drawing from concealment, so that slowed me down to as opposed to a belt.
Yeah.
And man, I burned it down. I had like 1.15 splits, like 0.15 splits. That's going fast, and I still did 2.06. So that's fast, man.
Yeah. That's quick.
The gold standard for draw 1 round on target is about a second. Mm-hmm. 1 second. It takes your average civilian, it takes them 1 second to get their hand to their gun.
Yeah. From wherever it is. Yeah.
From wherever it is. They don't, people who don't train, not necessarily competition, but any formal thing where there's some standard, they just don't understand how fast life moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't understand. And then furthermore, they don't understand that they can do it. If I can do it, freaking anybody can do it, right?
Yeah.
One man can do what any other man can do, I believe. If you see the human body can move like that and be consistent and do that, you can practice to do that.
Yeah.
And you can get there. And many people do. So, yes, time standards.
Yeah. So how long, from no shooting experience at all, how long would it take for somebody to get to that level?
Oh, man, that wholly depends on your dedication. But I'll tell you what will get you there faster is dry firing.
Yeah.
Yep. There are so many. Well, there's a book. There's a guy, a pro shooter. His name is Ben Steger, and then a guy that he writes with, Joel Park. They got a book called Dry Fire Reloaded, and I push that on people all the time. It is a very formalized way to build a dry fire regiment for whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. If you dry fire, one, you can save yourself money on bullets.
Right.
Because you will get benefit out of dry firing. Mm-hmm. Exponential benefit. And if you hold yourself to the standards because dry firing is a very disciplined thing because it's only you judging yourself.
Right.
Right. It's not somebody else standing there tuning you up. So if you, just for instance, for the draw, you have a little target somewhere and time yourself on a little shot timer app that you download and get there. And you can get there. And then take it out to the range once a month or so and test yourself.
Yeah.
I think somebody not shooting any guns at all, because I got some clients like that, who dry fire regularly, and I don't mean like every day for 3. I mean a few days a week for 10 or 15 minutes. I believe you can get, up to like probably C-class standards. Mm-hmm. And I mean, being able to draw consistently, put rounds on target in 2 or 1.5 seconds. 1.5.
Yeah.
But you can get there. The question is the consistency. Now you got to, can you do it the same every time?
Yeah.
And that's critical. That's critical. Especially when speed, right? Your speed comes from your consistency.
Yeah.
If I'm at 5 yards doing a bill drill, I'm not going to tell you I don't see my dot bouncing around.
Yeah. But
I just point that way and let it rip.
It's here, right?
Well, the closer you get, the more elbow room you got.
Yeah.
So, but that's where grip comes in and locked wrist and all that stuff.
Man, I've got a Ruger LC9.
Yeah.
And it's got a laser on it. And it's about useless because I couldn't shoot you from here with that gun.
You don't laser.
The longest trigger draw is crazy.
Yeah, that's the downside of those, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to rip on Ruger. They've been around forever. They're
it was a gift. I didn't even buy the gun. Go for it.
But those long, heavy trigger travels, you can train it, man, and you can get pretty good at it. Mm-hmm. But at some point, you're going to have equipment sort of that's going to be your obstacle. That's going to be your limiting factor is your equipment. And then there's dudes on the opposite end of that spectrum. Kurt, for instance, has he shoots for Lago Arms, which has got the alien gun, and that thing's got a trigger. It's ridiculous. When you cowboys in the '60s, it's a hair trigger.
The hair trigger, yeah.
That's it, man.
Wow.
So yeah, you can burn that thing down.
So it's like a paintball gun.
It's probably lighter than a paintball. This thing is ridiculous. Now, he's tuned it back up a little bit because it was borderline dangerous. But the point is, equipment does matter. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have hot rod guns to shoot fast.
Right.
But like I know the LC9's got a friggin'.
Yeah, it's forever. Yeah.
And then you got these old dudes at the gun shop. Well, revolver ain't going to let you down. It ain't going to let you down.
Yeah.
But revolvers are the most unergonomic guns.
Oh man,
you know what I mean?
Target acquisition and then the hammer
and then if you pull the hammer, that's one thing. But if you just pull the double action, that's like a freaking inch and a half of travel, man. It's just ridiculous. Like that's gonna drop anytime now.
Just waiting on it to go off. Yeah.
And then some of those freaking revolvers, man, it's like 12, 14-pound triggers. Mm-hmm. I mean, golly.
I remember the first gun I ever shot was a old Saturday Night Special, the old 38.
Yeah.
And I was probably 7 or 8, but I had 2 hands on it and I'm squeezing that thing, and it might have been because I was 7, but.
Nah, it wasn't.
Yeah,
you could have been the same.
It's just terrible.
The fundamentals are the fundamentals. They apply to every gun. You can learn to shoot a crappy gun. You can train. You can train poor techniques and get pretty good at them.
Yeah.
But, good equipment and learning the most efficient ways to do things. And that's it. Yeah. Action shooting especially, it all comes down to economy of motion. One, it's assumed you can hit what you're shooting at.
Right.
And then 2, economy of motion.
Yeah. Well, that's what Jocko Willink talks about. I'm sure he's not the only one to say slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
No, that's I don't know Jocko, so I'm not going to say anything. Slow is slow, and fast is fast.
Okay.
You can be smooth and fast,
yeah,
or you can be smooth and slow.
Right.
My grandma can shoot slow. Anybody can shoot slow. All right.
Maybe
Now,
he's talking about tactics. I don't know.
No, that is a military cliche that's been around since
Forever.
Since Jesus was a PFC. You know what I mean? And it's it's incorrect. Yeah, you should be fluid.
Yeah.
But the only way, do you think Olympic sprinters go smoothly jog around the
Slow
track?
and smooth, right? No, they don't.
No, they don't. They go and they run fast.
Yeah.
And they push their limits. They record their times. They fix themselves. They recover, and then they go do it again.
Yeah. All right, fast is fast. Write that
Fast
down.
I mean, fast is fast, dude.
Now, I'm not the only guy to say that. Look,
Right.
there's a segment of shooters out there. There's a few different camps of shooters.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the. You might have seen one of my catchphrases is no frills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no BS.
Just to the point.
Do what works and only that.
Yeah.
If you're doing extra stuff, ask yourself why. If you gotta use 50-cent words to answer that question,
Yeah.
scrap it.
Well, you're talking about a second and a half to get a shot off, and if you're doing extra things, now you're at 1.6 seconds.
Well, that's just a draw, but let's use an example. I see a lot of cop agencies who their standard procedure is to draw and take a step right or left because they're getting off the X, is what they say.
Have you established the X at that point? I mean,
No,
would
they're
you-
the X. They're calling themselves the X.
Right.
So the theory is that you're getting out of the direct line of sight of the bad guy.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Did we just lose Edgar?
Hello?
There
For
you
a
are.
moment, we lost
Nah, I
him.
might have backed away, man.
I got you. The waves look good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I interrupted you, but
My waves working?
your waves are
Yeah.
good.
He's good.
Okay,
He's
cool.
good.
Sorry about
We
that.
we still had him.
Yeah.
178 episodes and technical difficulties. How about that? It
I had
happens.
technical difficulties on my last one.
We'll talk about that after we're done here.
Yeah, anyway. Little stupid things. Look, are you really getting out of that guy's line of sight by taking a 2-foot step to the right or left?
Well, not if he was,
really.
if he was going to miss you, you might have moved to a spot where he's going to hit you.
Yeah, there's that. I guess everybody shoots low and left, right? So take a step to the
The other way. Yeah,
Yeah.
go high and right.
little things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen cop agencies where their standard SOP is to take a knee to execute a mags change. Now, why? Look, I'm kind of chonky and slow
Yeah, me
nowadays.
too.
That's,
Yeah.
that, I feel like that limits you more. Like you're gonna have to get
You
back
think?
up now.
You think so?
Well, you're not
Yeah,
mobile at that
absolutely.
point.
You're not mobile.
Yeah.
Boom, there you go.
Yeah.
You're now making yourself a static target, and it's more, now you got to get up off the ground
Yeah.
to move. And then furthermore, some of them make it the SOP where some guy has got to pick you up off the ground for you to know that it's safe
So
to
two of you can't move. You're both
Well, now it takes somebody to come say, hey, bro, get up.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There's weird stuff like that. It's been around in the military forever. Cops do it. It's been around cop stuff forever. And it just really doesn't make any sense. And what cops like to do, and even in the military a lot of times, are some of these tactical YouTubers is they conflate tactics with marksmanship skill. And it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary. There's tactics galore.
Right. Yeah.
I could pose you a problem and say, and give you two both the same exact mission. I need you to, you start points here. Here's our target right here. We're going to do a raid. And you two would come up with some totally bizarre, totally different.
Yeah.
It'll be wildly different,
Yeah.
probably. And then you get, but once you get to the objective and you shoot the guy, can you shoot the guy? Or are you just going to blaze up and he's going to run away?
Bunch of holes in the wall and
And then you didn't have a contingency plan, or you didn't have the objective contained, and he runs away, and you're
Right.
standing there empty, wondering like, where'd my plan go wrong?
I had the best gun. And
I mean, I feel like I'll have to ask off air if that was a Lucas from TX Arms flame.
No, I wouldn't burn that. Hey, he shoots good, whatever, man.
he runs like a freaking.
There ain't nothing
missile.
wrong with running fast if you can hit the target.
yeah,
He does a decent job according to his videos.
I cannot.
No, I just think he's insufferable.
He is.
He's
He
done
is.
a lot
I
of
don't know this
training.
guy at all.
And there's been things he said that asked me up, but I'm not in love with tactics.
Yeah.
Or I'm not in love with a way to do a thing. If somebody has a better way, freaking let me know.
Yeah.
And I'm on board if it's legitimate. So he's trained more than most people. His own training, probably. I mean, I'm sure he's taking courses from other legitimate people.
Yeah.
But I think he was just kind of loose with his mouth back, years ago, and I think he's probably tightened up a little bit. But yeah, if you can run and gun that fast, by all means, why wouldn't you? Be the first guy to put rounds on target. That's it.
That's
man.
the goal anyway, right?
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Be the first guy to put rounds on target.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And so if you're doing any tactic that looks cool, but it's not helping you be first,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
Economy
fast
of
is
motion.
fast.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And we could go on about.
That's all good.
So I don't teach tactics to civilians because one, CQB, despite what you'll see on YouTube, is a team sport.
What is CQB for the listener?
Close quarters battle, right?
Okay.
Clearing and entering rooms and buildings and structures and all that. It's a team sport. There's agencies out there that do one-man CQB for a very specific purpose.
Right.
But then dudes will go and start teaching that to civilians. And now you got, Dave downtown who's a contractor or a carpenter, and he thinks he's going to go through and start clearing his house when he hears a bump in the night. It's fun to do, and if you do it in the name of entertainment, I guess,
Yeah. Yeah.
But these dudes are out here being deadly serious. These former operator types, and they're showing you all these crazy ways to hold guns and stuff, and then they're trying to teach you this very, very dangerous and tactically unsound thing.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be accused of teaching anybody some unsound or dangerous tactics. No. I'm a tactically sound guy.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're not teaching tactics.
And if I were teaching tactics to cops, they would learn very solid tactics. Or soldiers, but definitely not.
That was a question I was going to ask, was how much of your SOCOM training goes into what you teach civilians?
All of it.
Okay.
Yeah, all of it. Because I teach civilians marksmanship.
No, I was... SOCOM's a big deal, dude.
I mean,
Well, it's not a big deal. I was at the headquarters, SOCOM headquarters in Florida. So the SOCOM headquarters is on an Air Force base, and then we have a bunch of various people, CENTCOM and SOCCENT and various other things. And so I was in charge of the marksmanship program. So what I did was just every quarter we did in the Army, it's called combat marksmanship, right? And the Special Forces manual, it's called combat marksmanship. No such thing as combat marksmanship, by the way, unless you're in the Army and you're going to combat, and that's where you execute this marksmanship at.
Right.
So we did a combat marksmanship. We did a 1 day or a 2 day, I don't want to say basic level, but and then we did a 3 day that was more operator-ish.
Well, I got you.
Every quarter, and then we did for Mogadishu Mile. I still do a Mogadishu Mile thing.
I think that's fantastic. Yeah.
That's where it started. When I took over there, we started doing it. It was a 5K because MacDill's on a little peninsula.
Yeah.
And so you did a 5K run. You run into the range with your partner, and then you guys jock up and go do your thing.
Yeah.
And then we did a D-Day shootout every D-Day.
Okay.
So you would be amazed at the number of personnel working on MacDill, like civilian contractors and GS civilians and stuff, who are like World War II gun collectors and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So people would bring out like the Jeep, like proper Jeeps and motorcycles, and working like 30 caliber machine guns and Tommy guns.
Yeah.
So
Tommy.
we would have a couple of stages that were competition stages. Well, you know, just M4 and Glock.
Right.
And then we would have like a World War II station where people got an opportunity to shoot all
that's cool.
these guns. And the last year we did it, that I was there anyway, the last year I was there, there's a fella named Harley Reynolds, and he's dead now. But he was in every beach landing in World War II.
Holy smokes.
And he came out.
Yeah.
And he was it wasn't a wheelchair, like it was a wheelchair.
Yeah.
But it was just a help around chair, right? He could get up. But he's out there, and we put some ear pro. All right, Mr. Reynolds, you want to, shoot? He gets an M1 carbine, man. He's like, oh, yeah, just like I remember. And then he pumps this friggin' 25-yard like target. He like pumps it up with 10 rounds, just like.
Oh man!
Without missing a beat. All right, just like, oh my God.
He's done it a million times.
Yeah, done it a million times. He was awesome. Anyway, that was a highlight. That was a highlight for me. Harley Reynolds.
Yeah.
And at the time, my son was fresh out of basic training. So he was back, still skunked up and everything.
Yeah.
And so I got a picture of him and Harley. SOCOM's oldest soldier and SOCOM's newest soldier.
Oh, that's cool.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That's cool stuff.
Yeah. That was fun stuff. But to answer your question, marksmanship is what I did.
Okay.
And so, at SOCOM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, let's talk a little bit about your podcast, the Junto Podcast.
The Junto Podcast.
So what does Junto mean?
So, all right, first of all, one of my very good mates, Justin, and one of my very good mates, Corey, they were good mates long before I came along. And they had this idea to do a little group, a little club, the Junto Club. So for you historians out there, the Junto was a Benjamin Franklin idea when he was probably 21 years old or so, something like that. It originated anyway in 1727. And it was just Ben Franklin and a group of local dudes, various dudes, carpenters and philosophers and bankers and whatever. And they would come together and probably have a couple beers and talk about how do we improve ourselves and our community and things.
Is this the group that met at the Green Dragon?
I don't know about the Green Dragon. It's possible.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I don't know. And it was also called the Leather Apron Club.
That's okay. Yeah.
So
I didn't.
Yeah. If you know it as the Leather Apron Club, the Junto or the Leather Apron Club is what they went by, either of those.
Yeah, okay.
So my homies had that idea, and then periodically people would be like, "Yeah, you guys should do a podcast. You should do a podcast." So finally, I called Justin and Corey. I'm like, "Hey man, are we going to do it or not?" "Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Just get everything square, and we'll just let me know when."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right." So finally, it got go time, right? I'm like, "Hey guys, mum's the word." Yeah. So Corey came out to Rome one day, and that was the episode where I discovered I had like a 13-minute time limit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't. We had to redo everything on that. Yeah. So I haven't had Corey back out, but eventually both of those chumps are going to be on. But they're good homie. One of them lives in Carrollton. One of them lives in Woodstock.
Okay.
One of them's got like 5 kids. You know what I mean? Like he's got life happening.
Issues,
and the other one's got a competitive wrestler in like middle school and a competitive dancer in high school, I think. And that dude, they're always on the run.
All the time.
All the time, man. So all my kids are grown out of the house, you know what I mean? So I got time to do it. I like to do it. So the podcast, we want to talk about, we chose the Junto. I considered doing an OSS one. Mm-hmm. But look, man, I can talk about guns and training for a long time. But at some point.
Yeah.
You like tapping out.
Right.
And I thought the Junto was perfect to open it up to just whatever else.
Yeah.
And one of the things I happen to like art, fine art. I love it. It moves you. You know, there's something.
Right.
I love to see detailed sculptures.
Well, when you're
from the masters,
so heavily involved in something as intense as Deadly Force all the time, like that's what you do. You've got to have something else that's not that. That's a little more mellow.
Yeah, I would think so. And I would guess. Well, I know that there are a lot of dudes out there who like play music.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a joke, but there's dudes out there bird watching.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, if you've seen my other website, Southern Ornithological League, we do a little bird watching on there, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But the Junto, I wanted to open it up to. I ask a lot of my clients, hey, what do you guys want to hear about besides shooting?
Yeah.
Number one on the list, entrepreneurship. I was like, look here. People are under the impression that I'm like a successful entrepreneur. I was like, look here, man. I'm not an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Everything is trial and error completely.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how much I can offer to that, but I did a paper. I don't know. You should read it.
I should. I meant to before I had
There's
you on.
one. It's entrepreneurship as direct comparison to unconventional warfare.
Oh.
So I take the 7 pillars or the 7 phases of unconventional warfare and juxtapose them to
you can
entrepreneurship.
Do that. If I'm just trying to sell, I don't know, a tennis racket to somebody, like it's tough for me to like bring it back around to unconventional warfare and make it, exciting.
I'm not trying to. Well, here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to ride on my Green Beret credentials forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm proud of what I'm proud
sure.
of. I've always wanted to be a Green Beret. My uncle James Gordon William was a 5th group Green Beret, died in Vietnam on tour number 3. I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
I did some great things and some dubious things during that time. I learned a whole bunch of stuff. Met a whole lot of cool people, great people. I met Billy Waugh. Do you know who Billy Waugh is? You guys look that up. Write it down. Look it up. Billy Waugh.
How you spell
Waugh?
Okay.
I've met or know or have worked with a handful of dudes who fought in the Mogadishu, the literal Mogadishu mile in Somalia. So that's what SOCOM gives you an opportunity to meet some living hero dudes that are working at they're there.
Yeah.
Walking the halls of SOCOM, doing various projects and things. So that's what one of the big takeaways I had from SOCOM. So look, I love that stuff, man, but I don't want to like live on that credential especially when it comes to shooting.
Sure.
If I can't perform now, all the stuff I'm talking, then what good am I as an instructor?
Right. Yeah.
A has-been Green Beret. That's what that is. So I'm not that. I stay sharp. Now I don't shoot competition nearly as much as I ought to, primarily because I'm busy doing my own stuff out there.
Yeah.
And we do our own competitions out there as well. But I don't want to ride on that. I have no academic pedigree whatsoever.
It's overrated anyway.
I agree that it's overrated. But school of life, man, that's what I got. So for the podcast, I try to talk about, I don't know, semi-meaningful topics. And then I do the blogs where I still try to write about semi-meaningful topics.
Yeah.
The writing, though, for me is like therapy. It's worked out to be like, I will get inspired or something will hit me. And then I can just sit there and just.
Yeah. Well, writing's something you can do where you don't have to worry. We were talking about getting the video right or the audio. I have to just write and post it to the website or socials or whatever. And
like when I'm having conversations, I absolutely do not use 50-cent words. I hate to sound. I don't want to sound like I'm trying to be an academic, friggin' intellectual type.
Yeah.
But when I write, I like to use a little more colorful, descriptive words.
Yeah.
It gives you an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
It gives you the opportunity to frame something out in a formal way. Because I'm not a huge reader. I'm in the audiobooks these days.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's popular.
that's the way it is. You
Yeah.
get in the car, you put it on.
Yeah.
I just ain't got time to sit down and read a book anymore.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, you can be more descriptive. You can be more formal. You can write it in a tone. It's 25 years in the Army, right? It's emails. That's how you lose like any humor or any sarcasm or any nuance when you're reading somebody's email.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just
But when you write, you can write an essay and you can make it either a little playful or somber or whatever. I like that stuff. My daughter writes like creatively, so I thought, you know what? Why not, man? I'm gonna give it a go.
Yeah.
I'm not writing fiction, but
yeah, it's still fun.
it's a way to share my opinion in a different way.
Yeah, it's a good outlet.
And I can post blog after blog after blog.
Yeah.
I'm still only gonna do one or two of these a month. You know what I mean?
Right.
Until I start getting like some guests or some people to. I don't just
They're
want it
out
to be
there.
Edgar's rant.
Edgar's monologue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that for long enough, and I thought, well, I've said everything I know. On
no,
my podcast.
I'm maxed out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta get some guests in.
Well, we got about 15 more minutes. I'll be maxed out.
It'd be done. How much we
I don't
got?
have
38 minutes. left
Oh
in
man,
the
I don't even know if
radio?
I got 38 more minutes
We're
of knowledge.
good. We're good. What was I gonna?
I was going to
Go
say,
ahead.
I got two for you.
What do you
Alright, shoot them at us.
How you feel about Trump's pick of Dan Kane as Dan Raisin Kane as the new Joint Chiefs?
I don't have any feelings on it. I
Okay.
think all generals are would-be politicians. So he'll do what his boss tells him, hopefully.
Okay.
But some don't, as we saw with Milley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any opinion on that, really. I was never really a big Trump fan. I'm a libertarian 100%. But I like that Trump has... Foreign aid was my number one on the list.
Yeah.
Foreign aid was number one.
I mean, I'm right there with you on the libertarianism.
Yeah.
There's a flag out there.
Yeah.
You got into this in your last podcast episode,
I did, yeah.
and I was agreeing with you
Yeah.
wholeheartedly.
Wholeheartedly.
So if Trump stays the course, now he's pissing a lot of people off, but he's making a lot of libertarian, they're like, let's see if he holds,
Yeah.
That's what the libertarians are doing right now. Okay, well, let's
Yeah.
see.
Let's see how this goes.
And then
That's
the
where
next
I'm at.
thing is, I want to see some people going to jail.
Yeah.
That's the next thing.
Yeah.
So if we see some people going to jail, and if this income tax business plays out just
Oh
right,
man.
now he's gonna have some libertarian buddies.
Yeah.
Some income tax and some
yeah.
no tax on overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a humongous Ron Paul fan,
Love that guy.
and I wish I said it before. We missed our opportunity, man.
Trump is older now than when they said Ron Paul was too old to be president.
I know.
Yeah, you know.
Trump's he's a vibrant dude.
Yeah.
If anybody, he's not slipping.
No, he's not.
Now,
He's not.
I've always thought his personality was very boisterous. Especially the first time he ran, I was completely he put me in mind of reality TV and the Kardashians.
He's
and
so
just garbage. Cartoonish.
Yeah.
He's just a caricature
Yeah.
of a boisterous
He's a New York billionaire.
dude. Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. I don't think he could have done the first time around what he's doing this time because it took the 4 years of Biden to get the fence sitters to be like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Now, as facts start to emerge as they are about how bad things have been, I think it's only going to work for Trump. And as long as he keeps picking winners as far as cabinet people, I thought it was brilliant for him to... I'm not an RFK fan either. That dude's a straight-up liberal.
He's a
However,
liberal.
he picked for what he picked him for.
Yeah.
He's the man for the job.
Yeah.
People tripped over themselves calling Obama pragmatic. That was a pragmatic move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kash Patel. Now, I don't have one. Wait. How many directors of the FBI Indians have there been?
0.
Yeah, 0. Not a word about it. from the left.
Yeah, we got a person of color in that role now.
Not a word
first
about
time
it.
ever.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
Not one word about, everything's identity politics until it don't.
Yeah.
It don't
Yeah.
match.
Well, Tulsi checks a lot of boxes.
She checks them all, bro.
Yeah.
She's
a minority,
checking all.
female, veteran, the whole
she's
nine
got
yards.
it, man.
Smoking hot too.
Yeah.
Tango would like to ask her out on a date. I think she's married, though. That's a
It's
problem.
all right. Divorce is a thing in America. It's all right.
Stop it.
Yeah, man. She was a Democrat.
Yeah.
She had some sort of anti-gun views there that she displayed, and then worst of all, she stood by Bernie Sanders when they were running him over the coals.
Yeah.
And then he didn't vote for her confirmation.
Yeah.
Now, how's that? Now that shows you character
Right.
of the people that we're dealing with.
Yeah, she was willing to go to bat for them, and they would not return the favor.
So if you want to, like I said, people tripped over themselves. They were goo-goo gaga on Obama for being so pragmatic. That was a pragmatic move, man.
Yeah.
His cabinet picks so far
Yeah.
have all been what I would call pragmatic.
Yeah, and we tried to hand it to Fetterman not long ago. He went on Rogan and said a bunch of cool stuff, and I think Fetterman got into politics for the right reasons. He's still super liberal and definitely not on our team. But people are ready to.
But he's
just hand
seeing
it
a
over.
little bit of calm. But he's like, this is blatant hypocrisy.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to call that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's obvious to everyone.
Right.
But because mainstream media will absolutely lie.
Yeah.
To the.
Or omit.
Okay,
or,
I'm seeing it, but they're saying that's not what it is.
Right.
Okay, well, maybe. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. But don't let a Republican or libertarian, that one little slip, man. And
No.
Well, it's the whole "don't believe your lying eyes." They're trying to pass stuff by.
But one of the points I've been making here, recently was that's why podcasting is so important. It goes back to
brother, yeah, it is.
AM radio when we were kids, and that was where you heard the real news.
Yeah.
So podcasts are a big deal now because the media is lying to us.
So me and you could be saying anything. No, we could be saying anything.
Right.
But for what does it benefit us? You and me, you ain't getting paid jacking nothing by anybody.
Right.
Why would I go on and say anything but what I see as truth?
Yeah. Yeah, because of the millions of dollars I offered you to come sit down here.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no benefit for your average podcaster to get out there and start spouting off lies or propaganda unless they're
bought, right?
Unless they're bought.
Yeah.
So that's why this is a free flow of information right here.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a free flow of information that you used to could get. You know what? I say that. Ever since there's been media.
Yeah.
There's been dirty government fingers in it.
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to say you used to be able to get it.
That's true. There's always a little bit of shade on it.
Yeah, there's always been.
Well, there's always been somebody saying, that's not true. Let's not believe that.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even want to, all the classic, like Brokaw and whoever and those dudes. Like,
way back.
There's always been.
Yeah. Well, as long as you've got sponsorship, right? I can't say anything that's going to upset my sponsors.
But now we see it ain't just sponsors, right? It's like the owner of this media company who owns this newspaper and that television station. And they donate, X billion or X million to whatever.
Right.
That's what's going on.
Or USAID gave them, what? 15,000 premium subscriptions at $10,000 a pop.
Madness. That's absolute corruption, man.
Yeah.
Absolute.
How you gonna get a Politico subscription for $10,000?
Absolute.
Your articles are trash.
You can subscribe to Burnham Podcast for free anywhere.
For free. And look, man, I'm not opposed to money. Don't get me wrong.
Sure. Yeah. I'm capitalist.
But I ain't getting rich anytime soon.
No.
I got no incentive to tell lies.
Yeah. Yeah.
My days of chasing young women are over. I find it egregious to embellish war stories.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no reason to tell lies. I'm 52 years old. Marginally healthy. I got a happy wife most of the time.
Most of the time. That's all that's important.
I got grown, fairly well-adjusted children out there living their lives. I got no reason to lie, man.
Yeah, yeah. I always say, I picked this up in training jiu-jitsu. I decided there's a level of honesty among people who are skilled in violence.
I'd say that might be about right.
Yeah.
But it depends on why you're skilled in violence, though.
That's true. I guess you could have
there are psychopaths.
bad actors.
Yeah, there are psychopaths out there.
Yeah.
There's always there's always somebody.
Yeah. It's an outlier.
Yeah, there's always somebody. But to me, this is the bare bones, honest. This is the honest media of the day.
Yeah. Well, we sat down here and talked for 5 minutes before we hit go. We haven't had any commercial breaks.
Yeah, right.
It's just uninterrupted conversation. And I don't have, I can do this. I can sit and talk forever. I don't have the attention span, like we were saying, to sit and listen for 3 hours.
Yeah.
But it's important that those conversations take place because that's when the truth really gets out.
Yeah, I agree. Or at least sparks people's curiosity to go look a little deeper.
Yeah.
That's where my wife's at. My wife's kind of a conspiracy theorist. She's
a little bit.
She's always trying to get me to look into these crazy things. And she ain't 100% wrong about a lot of it. But
how many times do we have to be right before they stop calling us conspiracy theorists?
No, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But there are some people out there that are just completely off the deep end on both sides of the game. Ultimately, though, for regular people, it comes down. It's like religion. You just got to choose who to believe.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah, it's tough.
In the podcast or in the news world.
Yeah.
When you got seemingly credible sources with educated people on both sides saying opposite.
Right. Yeah.
And they're all like, pedigree and academics, and oh my God, who's telling the truth?
There's somebody somewhere recording a podcast right now with a suit and more college degrees than I have.
Yeah,
but he's completely wrong about whatever
he's saying. Completely wrong.
But who do you believe this guy in the basement in his hoodie, or do you believe that guy?
That's right, and that's right. People got to choose. At some point, you have to go out and and that's one of the problems today is like a lot of people are just generally lazy.
Yeah.
We've been, you guys remember the movie WALL-E?
Yeah.
The animated
robot.
movie?
Yeah.
I mean, we're pretty close.
We're close.
We're pretty dang close to the big cruise ship.
Yeah.
Everybody
just sucking us all up and getting out of here.
And then
Thanks, Elon Musk.
Lean back in your chair, and then your food comes along.
Yeah, we don't miss it by much, man. I've been trying to be more active lately. Now I feel really bad. I'm gonna go do some push-ups now.
I'm in a bad state right now.
Yeah.
Physically, I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow though for ankle surgery consult. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's
not that I'm a runner. I'm not.
Yeah, but surgery's lousy, but it's better to get it over with, I think, and do the things you love.
So that's one of the things that it's been nagging me for years is ankle injury, my right ankle specifically. But I've broken both of my legs, and my career was just a misery because of it.
High mileage now, right?
But the older I get, so some of the things. So Southern Ornithological League. That's my other.
It's on my list.
Sort of side gig there. It's all a side gig. It's all my. It's all side. I keep them separate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I do know why. Originally, the Southern Ornithological League was going to be a little secret society. It was just going to be a very
it's
small.
It's going to be your Junto or your
private
leather apron.
Invite.
Yeah.
Only. Turns out that's a bad money model. Like
yeah, that's tough.
If you want to bring in very select rich guys, well, you got to know the rich guys.
Right.
I don't know those guys.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know them.
But over there, we do adventure-based stuff, land navigation. And the common thread, everything except land nav, the common thread is teamwork and leadership. Land nav's a very individual skill,
yeah.
But I think it's a skill that every dude should have.
We should. For a hunter, I'm not great at it.
Yeah. So we got different levels of land nav: 1 day, 2 day, and 3 day. And the 3 day is a beast, by the way. That's 20-mile lanes down in Talladega National Forest.
Ooh.
That's overnighter. And so you're
Wow.
out there at night. At any rate, and then we have long range evasion, which is really cool. And during the classroom portion of that, we go into a little class, some of the unconventional warfare sort of principles and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's meant to be a scenario, and the scenario is your group of people, the Southern Ornithological, your little crew, is on the run from
the bad guys.
Bigger organization.
Yeah.
It's cool though because there's a little bit. It's a physical thing. You start out. We have 1 day in the classroom, and then we in the classroom we build a cache with some water. Depends on what time of year it is. If it's summer, it's just water.
Yeah.
If it's winter time, we'll throw some fire making stuff in there and some sleeping bags. So they build their own cache, and then my team goes and places that cache. These dudes then get dropped off in Little 5 Points or in down the road, Candle Park.
Yeah.
We go to Fellini's and have pizza, and that's where they get their, hey, our teams have been being arrested. You guys got to hit the road, execute your plan.
Oh, wow.
So the classroom portion is doing an evasion plan.
Yeah.
So you got 6 or 8 meat eaters on the east side of Atlanta who now have to move by foot to a designated point along the MARTA line, while we got surveillance dudes out looking for them. Now, some guys stand out like a turd in a punch bowl.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Big, thick neck dudes.
Yeah, yeah.
So I try to tell them, don't wear your real tree friggin', don't show up looking like a commando.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be walking amongst the other humans in the city.
You're trying to be gray man,
where you will stand out.
Yeah.
So they got to do a route. Now they have a corridor they have to stay within. Mm-hmm. A pretty wide corridor. My people are trying to get eyes on them and follow them. And then they got $5 and an ID card. That's all they have. They don't have any other items on them at all. So they have to get to. Not true. In the next class, it's gonna be a MARTA ticket,
bus pass, or
to get on the subway. Then they got to do a link up with a driver who they don't know what he looks like. They just know it's going to be a white van with a certain marking on it.
Yeah.
And then they got to do like a challenge and password.
Okay.
If they get the wrong password, guess what? They don't get a ride. But they have a window, right? The guy will come back.
Right.
A couple hours later. Anyway, and then they get dropped off out in the woods somewhere near Sloppy Floyd.
Okay.
And then they have to move with their only source of light being a chem light and their only information being a hand-drawn map.
Wow.
They have to move up roughly 10 miles.
Out in the national forest there.
At night.
Yeah. That's intense.
And then they got to do another link up by a certain time in the morning. So along that route is their cache. If they find it, very good. If they don't, I wouldn't spend too much time looking for it. Because if they don't make that last link up, then they got to walk from a long way. A really long way.
That seems like a lot of fun.
So it's teamwork, right? They gotta figure out how they're gonna move out in the general public without looking like a bunch of dudes running from the law.
Right.
And I don't have any. Me and Rome police, we got some high fives going. Me and Atlanta police ain't got no high fives.
Yeah, yeah.
If they're looking suspect, they're looking suspect.
Right.
It's a good time. The teamwork part is just how do we get from here to there and do what we're going to do and make it sensible. And what any class has yet to figure out is how do we spend this $5 in our pocket? Now, My advice is always, why don't you go buy a map at the closest store to you?
Right.
But whatever.
Can you still buy a map? Is that still a thing?
That's a thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Every convenience store in Atlanta's got a little tourist map.
Yeah, I guess so. Same as it's always been.
They got road maps.
Yeah.
They have them, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, nobody has yet to buy a map or water.
So if you sign up for this course, buy yourself a map.
Yeah.
Pull your money together.
Now, because most people that take the course aren't from Atlanta.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't know the city. I happen to know the city because I grew up there.
You get folks come in from like way off?
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, I've had folks from freaking Oklahoma and Texas out that way and Virginia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Florida for sure.
So these folks in this group might or might not know each other.
Right.
Okay.
So there's the teamwork part. Right now, somebody always emerges as the
leader, the foreman, the whatever.
It's fun to see how those personalities kind of play out because we do an after action review at the end and see who's stepping on toes.
Oh, that's fun, man.
It's a great time, man, and that's an overnighter.
Mm-hmm.
So we pick them up in the morning. Now there's a surprise ending to that I'm not going to share on here.
Don't spill those beans.
There's a surprise ending, and then we'll do an after action review, and then we go and have some Moe's barbecue.
Okay.
And just talk about it and it's a good time. So anyway, I went into that because that's one of my favorites. But long range evasion, we do a search and rescue mountaineer course. I do that with Nathan. Mm-hmm. Me and Nathan. It's a scenario based course. Yeah. Day one's in the classroom. And then day two, we go out to the mountain during the day. We do a bunch of mission rehearsals, which is doing the hauling systems, rappelling, all the things to get some hands-on mountain climbing. And then we do a big campfire that night. Nathan's got some brilliant, campfire discussions.
Yeah.
Right? There's some soul searching out there. There's some deep stuff going on at that campfire. I call it the circle of truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the circle of truth.
There you go.
I just sit back and but the next morning our recon team comes up around 6 a.m. and is like, hey, we got eyes on the climber that we're looking for. And the whole premise is we're out looking for a lost broken who's been missing for a few days. And then we got the call, because local fire departments have maxed out and whatever. Yeah. So, and then we go move, to the climber or the hiker, get eyes on him, then figure out how to get him. Because there's the way it's set up. I mean, there's a lot of decisions that could be made. Some of them are better than others, but if you choose to climb up to him to get him down versus climb down to him to get him down,
right? There's
all kind of things going on, and then they got to package him up and carry him, a long way. But it's good though. There's technical stuff. If you enjoy mountaineering at all, you're going to learn some cool stuff. Yeah. Because Nathan, I was on a mountain team, and I'm okay with it. Nathan is a brilliant, technical, skilled guy. And it's fun stuff, man.
Sounds like it.
And you have to depend on other people in this course.
Yeah.
And like for me, for instance, I'm scared of heights.
Me too.
I know that sounds stupid, but when I'm up on the mountain, I'm the safest dude on the mountain.
Yeah.
You better believe I'm safe.
Extra tied in.
But even then, sometimes I get that little knee shake when that little butterfly in my guts. I'm scared of heights.
Yeah.
But I pretend like I'm not when I'm up there.
Tough guy, right?
Standing around with my arms crossed.
Yeah.
Watching people rappel for the first time.
Ooh,
man, it's
going over that edge.
Get them shaky knees and they're all nervous.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of teamwork going on in that course, and people do some semi-scary things that, maybe they didn't know they could do.
Yeah.
And we set it up. Obviously, everybody. I don't expect anybody to fail or quit.
Right.
But it's the environment we build is such that you won't.
Yeah.
Even if you think you want to, because you don't want to let everybody else down.
Yeah.
Because you're a critical piece.
Yeah. They're dependent on you just like you are on them.
Right.
Yeah.
So minus one person is going to be a very big problem for everybody else. And then if you quit, you still got
You're still out
on
in
the
the
side
woods.
of the mountain.
Yeah.
And you still got to walk down. There's no magic helicopter to come pick you
You
up.
might as well finish at that point.
But it's not that type of course. I don't think anybody would quit that.
Yeah.
I've seen fear do a lot of things to people, but Nathan especially, that guy's got such a calming, presence about him.
Yeah. I've never spent any time with him, but I hear he's as laid back as they get.
Man, that's one of the things I say about him the most. He's got a calming, soothing presence. His voice.
Which is who I want if I'm going to hop over the side of that. Yeah.
Because me, I'll just sit there and bust your balls until
you just push you off and
say, look, the sun's still going down. We still got to do.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
But.
I'm scared.
Nah, I'm not that big of an a-hole, but Nathan, he would be the guy for that for sure. That one's an awesome one. I love that. We're planning the next one. We were going to do it in spring, but next fall is our next search and rescue mountaineer.
Good deal, man. That's all exciting stuff.
It is.
And you've got your range in the works.
I say adventure-based stuff.
Yeah.
But it's all teamwork.
Yeah.
And it's good. And you meet people that you wouldn't ordinarily meet, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love those. And I do less of those. Those are complex courses.
Yeah, you can't do that every weekend.
Nah, man. Those are complex courses. They cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the value, those are more fun to set up and to execute.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I could get out of my bed and rub my eyes, brush my teeth, and go down to the range. All right. And then teach pistol course.
Right. Yeah, that's a little bit different.
But yeah, that's the good stuff. Southern Ornithological League is the good stuff for adventure types.
Yeah. So where do people find all this stuff? You've got your shirt on.
Oh man, I got OspreyShootingSolutions.com. The number 2 teamguys.com. That's the URL for Southern Ornithological League.
Okay.
That's because me and my best friend were going to start he wanted to do t-shirts like way back. Mm-hmm. So we bought that URL because it's a cool name.
Yeah.
2 Team Guys.
2 Team Guys.
And then we didn't follow through with the t-shirt business.
But you still
because there's 8 million t-shirt businesses. But
right.
So I kept the URL.
Yeah.
2teamguys.com. And then the Junto Podcast.com. The podcast is on all the, Apple, Spotify,
I listen to you on Spotify,
all those. But it plays on my website as well. I've got got your own
the
RSS. The last 3 podcasts are up on the website always.
Okay.
Whatever the last 3 are. And that's where you can find all the blogs as well. I share all that stuff on my Instagram, like Osprey Shooting Solutions. I'm trying. Here's my big thing now. Can I consolidate all that stuff, or do I keep it all separate? It's a bear.
Yeah, it is to get around all that and
to get around all that.
Yeah.
If all that stuff was compiled in one spot, it'd be a bit of a nightmare.
I think it'd be too much for one spot.
I think so too. I think I'm going to leave it. I do all my own art and stuff. Mm-hmm. So my logos, I made my own logos, which I'm very proud of my logos.
You got some cool stuff.
All the art on OSS for like the various ads and stuff, I do myself. There was a time period there where I was using some AI for the like land nav and stuff.
Yeah.
Just to see how, and it was cool and all, but Now I'll use AI on the like the picture for the blog.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a picture that kind of whatever. But I like to do my own art, my stickers and all that crap. Mm-hmm. So that's fun too.
Yeah.
I think. So I came from the low end of the economic spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
So college wasn't a thing. But had I not been a Green Beret, I would have been an artist in some form or fashion.
There's not much money in art.
No, there's not. But it was always commercial art. I'm not talking about like starving artist, hippie, painting out on the street.
Right.
I've always liked creating logos and things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't wish somebody would have been there to mentor me because I don't regret having gone the path I went.
Yeah.
But that would have been the alternate path. I love doing art.
Well, there's always retirement, right? One of these days.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
No, I'm retired.
Yeah, I guess you are, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm retired now. This is all.
Side
it's
gigs.
not all gravy, because everything that you start something it costs.
Yeah.
So now you're paying to work that off.
Right.
It's just. I'm not saying it's a passion project. It's not. I'm trying to build a legacy. I want my kids and my grandkids to be able to work at that range.
Yeah.
And have a stake in that range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, man.
Absolutely. So that's what it is. The longevity. That's why I'm doing this. Is longevity.
Yeah.
For the big range. Because if it's a national level draw, it's going to be a autopilot. All you have to do is maintain the place, keep it professional. Right. Occasionally, have some nice events out there.
Yeah.
And
we'll get you back on when you get that up and running.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be awesome. Once we sign paper, whenever that is, but when we do, I'm going to start a proper YouTube sort of ad campaign. Like I got a buddy with like a drone.
Yeah.
So we're going to go up and we're going to get raw photo to land.
That'll be fun.
Outline the whole thing. Be like, this is what's coming.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do a pre-registration time window.
Okay.
For membership. And then we've got an investor plan as well. So once we sign paper on the land, that's all you're going to hear about. That's all I'm going to be talking about.
Wouldn't expect anything less.
And then we're going to, obviously do the YouTube campaign is going to be an update, major milestones.
Right.
But as we make major dents in the land, all right, this is what's up. This
Good
is what
stuff.
The timeline hopefully looks like.
It's exciting to have something like that locally.
Yeah. Code wise, I think we're all good. There's always stuff that's going to come up, but I think it's all looking smooth, man. It's all looking good.
Good deal.
So I'm very excited about it, and it's going to be the only thing in Northwest Georgia. Now you got the Floyd Wildlife Place.
Yeah.
But that's not. It's a whole different.
Shoot skeet or
whatever. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing.
God bless them.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. I won't keep you here all night.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I've enjoyed it.
Man.
We'll do it again sometime.
Finally meeting you as well.
Yeah, it's been good.
This is awesome.
Been good.
Love doing podcasts, man.
It's so much fun.
I was never going to do them, and then I can't remember who the first one I did.
I put it off for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do it like as a guest.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I've been a guest a few times. But
yeah. I can't remember who. Maybe it was Chad that had me on, but I was like, nah, I don't want to do that.
I don't know. Everybody's like, you need to get Chad on. Like, Chad ain't got time for my podcast.
Nah, he's big time, man.
Yeah.
He's too big time.
Yeah.
I'll always have time for you.
I appreciate that, man. You guys always have time too. That's fantastic. We're so grateful for each and every one of you. Wherever you're listening, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click the little bell wherever you're at. God bless you guys. We love you. See you next time.